you a little premise. Why did we think of taking up this particular topic? So happiness is something that we are all wishing for most of the time, and happiness is something that we all strive for. All the hard work that we do, all the running around that we do, all the studies, everything that we are doing, at the end of it, perhaps we are looking for some happiness, some peace, some those lovely moments, contentment. Somehow it doesn't seem to be working. It just happens sometimes that we get this feel that people are not being good to us, or maybe sometimes the circumstances are not good, the situations are not good enough. What do we do in such times when we are actually, what we are doing is we are seeking some solace, some happiness. So before I start again, do you have any questions particularly that you would like to discuss, any particular situations that you would like to discuss, or we can start in general with relationships. So let's talk about relationships, because relationships is one thing where people usually find their source of happiness as well as unhappiness. So when we are looking for some happiness in a relationship, it is always accompanied by some pain, some unhappiness, and sometimes a lot of unhappiness and less of happiness. Where does it come from? Are relationships bad? Is it always that there is something wrong with your relationship? So let's try to understand what is exactly happening here. So when we are in a relationship, what typically happens is that relationship starts with someone because we like some things about them. It's not that we like everything about people. So there are some things that we like about them, and then the other things which we are, maybe people say that we are blind to. We try to see some things, but sometimes we just try to blindfold ourselves and not try to see other things in a person. And so it starts off as a nice relationship. There's an attraction, and sometimes you feel that chemistry is there, but slowly that seems to be fading off, and then there is arguments, and there are fights, and people are trying to control each other in a relationship. And somehow what started off as one of the most beautiful things does not actually go on as the most beautiful thing. So that unhappiness, it seeps in. Where is this actually the source of all this unhappiness? And I think that it's essential for us to think where is the source of unhappiness. Because if one person you're not very happy with, maybe there can be other person. But if you're not happy with the other person either, and if you're not happy with the third person either, and not happy with the fourth person either, then what exactly is happening here? Okay, so let's try to understand why is it that the people are bad, or is it that we are bad, or there's something wrong which is happening? Well, it starts with expectations. Like I said, that we have these things where people might be, when we might have a lot of expectations that my boyfriend should be like this, my girlfriend should be like this, my husband should do this, my children should particularly behave in a certain way. They don't. They actually don't behave the way we want them to, and then that's where the clashes and everything else starts, and that's when the unhappiness starts. So expectations, yeah, I think we need to give that number one point over there is like expectation. There is something is happening with the expectations there. Our expectations, not the other person's. Right now I'm not bothered about the other person's expectation, because if it's you who is suffering from that pain of that relationship, then I'm sure that it's you who needs to understand what's happening with yourself, and that certainly is the point. Okay, so let's try to understand what's happening here. We have some questions coming up here now, and one of the questions is how to deal with negative energy people. That's interesting. So are there people with negative energies? Let's start with that, because many people do have this particular question. So are there people with negative energies? I feel people are there who live in a lot of negativity. and who are not ready to come out of their negativities. I mean, we keep on meeting people that even if something nice is happening, they'll try to find out something not so good about it. You try to show them 4 flowers and they will try to point out that 5th flower is not there. I'm sure that you have met people like that. There are people who would just decide not to be happy about anything. And trust me, though everyone is seeking for happiness personally, but there are people who would look out for opportunities to be negative themselves and to bring out negativities in people. Yes, we do have people around us who are having negative energies. Well, if this person is not very close to you, someone who cannot, who has to be in your life, then the best way is to stay away. Say goodbye and stay away from such people. We don't need to make people feel good. We don't need to continue with relationship just for the sake of other people if it's affecting our life every single day. So if you can, say goodbye to people and stay away from them. But then there are certain people who are in our close circle, and when they are in our close circle, then we are not able to actually get rid of them. Sometimes there are children, sometimes there are parents, and sometimes maybe a spouse. First and foremost is either talk to them, make them understand that your negativity is affecting me. So either both of us, we work on this relationship so that negativity does not affect us, or I will have to decide my boundaries. People, it is okay to let people know if you are not happy. It's okay to let people know if you are suffering, whoever they are, even if they are your parents, and if they are continuously negative and nagging, please have the courage to tell them that I will take care of my responsibilities, I'll take care of you, but I will not be spending more time with you because, though I would like to, because it gives me too much of negativity. And even to your children, because you will not start feeling that negative thing about children till the time they are, say, about 15, 16 or years. So before that, you won't feel much of a negativity from them. So it's easier to handle the whole situation. But as they grow up and they are outgrowing about 17, 18, 19 years of age, and they bring in too much negativity, fighting with you, shouting and screaming and demanding and slamming the doors and all these things. Please, parents, understand, you have to tell them that it's time for them to leave the house. It is essential to do that. So get them admission somewhere else if it's possible for you, or if not, ask them to get a job earliest possible, because by the time they finish the graduation, I guess we all should be asking our children to get some work and start earning at the earliest possible. But if they're too negative, just because they're your children doesn't mean that you have to be around them, or you have to keep them with you. So the best way is to find out who these people are with the negative energies, and try to stay away. That's the best way that you can do it. Okay, so as we go ahead, let's talk about some more of these the issues that affect us, that is in our happiness. So like I said, that expectations is one thing from others. Second is our need to control the others, which is majorly the reason of our unhappiness. So what happens is, a husband for that matter, is all the time thinking that my wife should not go to this place, my wife should not talk to such people, my wife should not do this, my wife should not go here, my wife should not do this, why is she laughing too much, why is she smiling so much? If he is thinking of all this all the time, and he is unhappy because of that, trust me, the source of the unhappiness is not the wife, but his need to control her life, which is giving her all the unhappiness. So if we can understand this, I would like you to understand this from a different perspective. I'm not saying that maybe, that husband is a very bad person, that this particular, no, it's not. But then he certainly needs to understand that why am I so controlling? Is it because I don't trust her? Is it because I'm insecure inside me? Or is it because I just have this desperate need? I just have this desperate need to, you know, let's say, a desperate need to control someone, anyone, so that I feel powerful inside me. Friends, this is a very, very important phenomena which happens inside most of us. And it's a direct reflection of who we think we are, our self-esteem. Do we respect ourselves? Do we love ourselves? Because if we control other people's life, that's a direct indication that something is not right inside us. That maybe, you know, we are not not very happy with ourselves. We cannot respect ourselves. We cannot love ourselves. So all the time we are trying to just feel powerful, because we don't feel powerful on our own. We feel lost maybe. So just to feel powerful, then the only place where you can feel perhaps powerful is your wife, your children. Just put them down, then that's how the domestic violence and everything comes up. It's not actually what the wife is doing. It's up to you to decide, you know, how it goes. So let's take this further and understand furthermore. Okay, so I have a few more questions here. Okay, bear with me while I'm just trying to find out your questions here so that I can address to them in particular. Meanwhile, please keep your questions coming up, and I will try to answer as many of them as possible online, and if not, we will certainly take them up offline. Okay. All right, so what do we have here? Okay, so there's a question which has come up just on my personal message. This is about the children and parents relationship. So what happens in a parent and a child relationship? Because these days what we see is a lot of negativity in that department also. Either the children are not happy with their parents, or the parents are not happy with their children, and this is what we keep on seeing frequently. Children was supposed to be the source of happiness for parents, and the parent-child relationship was supposed to be the most, you know, the most beautiful and simple relationship. Why has it become so complicated? Well, because our expectations from life has changed, and the expectation from life for the children have changed a lot. The simple things somehow do not seem to attract them anymore, and we are too busy perhaps as parents to make them, you know, acquainted with the simple things. As I remember the time my parents used to spend playing board games with me. So if they would sit down and play, I could play as something simple as snakes and ladders for hours together. Now the question is, how much time do we as parents spend with our children? So it's easier for us to give them gadgets and, you know, things like that, so that when we are giving them those things, they are becoming involved in those things, and their expectations are going up for more technology, bigger things, more expensive things, going out more. And when they are expecting that, they develop a kind of a negativity towards this whole process which is happening in the house. So there are fights and there are shoutings, and exactly where did we go wrong? Now that's the question which comes in. We did not go wrong anywhere. We just didn't take time to stop and think, you know, how I would like to bring up my children. If I wish them to value some things, and I need to spend time with them, doing those things, not telling them to do it, doing those things. And if the relationship, this unhappiness is coming from your relationship with your children, I'm sure this is one place where we can certainly work on it. Of course, this is an unending topic, but that's the crux of it, you know. And then we have another question which says that we expect support from others, and which they have been giving always. and they now, if they support, if they don't support sometime, we feel unhappy. Okay, so how do we face to this? Yes, there have been people in your life who have been supporting you, and then suddenly they are not supporting, or maybe sometimes they are not supporting and sometimes they do. How do you face this? I guess, first thing is we need to understand this very well, that um, when we get something, our expectations increase too much. Like seems to be the rule of the world, that a person who's giving is supposed to be only giving. Is not supposed to have any other priorities, anything. People, please understand that everyone has their own life. Everyone has their own priorities. And they would like to help you and support you, they may not always be in a position to do that. Plus, it's not just the outwardly thing. You might feel that, this person is not doing anything, just sitting there idle, and why don't they come and help us out? It's quite possible that, they need that space to be alone. They may be overwhelmed because they are normally helping in nature and supporting. They are giving so much to people that they might be overwhelmed in their mind, and they just want to be alone. They want to be on their own. And sometimes it is also it happens that, often children feel that parents have stopped supporting them. But I feel that, it's when parents usually they want their children to become independent. So they slowly stop doing certain things for them, and children might feel betrayed, but that might be the reason behind it. So I would only suggest that if someone has been supporting you for so long, please respect that. Be thankful for that, and try to find out that, maybe now this person himself or herself needs some support. Someone who has been very positive, someone who has been very strong, doesn't mean that he or she cannot fall, cannot have a negative time in their life. It's quite possible that it goes that way also. So try to find out, maybe extend a hand to that person this time. Are you okay? So maybe, it's just doing the things other way around. I hope that answers your question, and let's go on ahead with the next question, which says that I try to share everything to everyone, and sometimes people took advantage and took me for granted. Yes. Okay. So yeah, that does happen with us. See, the first most important thing is, people are people. They're just normal people like you and me. So we do that, right? We do that with our parents. If the parents are giving too much, we just don't want to accept that parents might also want to be cared for, and we should do something. We just take them for granted that they should be doing it. So other people are also like us. And secondly, like I said, priorities change, and the equations in the world change. So maybe I have someone who's a very good friend of mine today, and I share a lot, but tomorrow he or she is not very comfortable with me, and he is not okay. Or maybe he or she has some other good friend with whom he or she wants to share whatever has been said. So see, understand one thing: the moment a secret or anything which is personal to you leaves your mouth, it does not remain secret or personal anymore. To expect that the other person will treat it as respectfully as it was for you is a wrong thing, because not out of disrespect. Sometimes we just tell things to people out of sharing. Sometimes we just, because we may have two best friends, so we share one thing with one person and then share the other person the same thing. It happens often. So if you feel that some things that are there, yours, should be kept with you, and people should not have certain kind of impressions about you, that I think the responsibility is yours to decide to whom you want to share with and how much of what you want to share with, because people are going to be people. So if we cannot change anyone. The only person that we can change in this world is ourselves. So if that particular behavior of yours is giving you pain and unhappiness, if that is giving you pain and unhappiness, I'm not saying that sharing with everyone is a bad idea, but if it's giving you pain and unhappiness, I think you need to work on it yourself and maybe try to think that, there would be, maybe I can restrict, maybe I can just decide that how many people I would like to share with. So I guess that should be answering your question. And we can go ahead with the next one too. We still have some time left with us. Okay. Okay, when I get angry on anyone or any other, I get harsh on my kids. That's actually quite common. It's quite a common thing to happen, That's the phenomena that I was trying to explain, if you can understand it again. You see, what happens is, as human beings, we all have a need to be appreciated, to feel good, to be one of the best, one of the good people. And if we are not doing anything to work on ourselves to become better, in any way, like suppose like I'm continuously working to upgrade my education in different fields so that I feel good about myself, or maybe I'm learning some new skills, or maybe I'm developing new hobbies. If I'm doing something that makes me feel good about myself, it is very, very difficult for other people to make me feel hurt or angry, because the other person might behave in a certain way which might feel insulting to me. Now, did that person mean to insult me? Now, that's not an important question. The question is that while this was happening, what was happening inside me? So only and only if I am not happy with myself, something about my life, then when I'm going to get irritated with it. But then again, now this is a typical sign of low self-esteem. So low self-esteem also means that I cannot vent out my anger on anyone. I don't have that confidence to tell you on your face that, I don't like this, don't talk to me like this. I don't have that confidence at all. But I am irritated. Now the easiest targets are, you guessed it right, it's the kids. It's similarly, a man who is working somewhere, and he's just one of the many workers, many people are working in an office, and he's nothing special there. He's not doing anything to, he did one graduation long time ago, and doesn't do anything to upgrade himself or make himself feel better. But his need is there. Now if someone insults him in the office, the boss tells him you're good for nothing. Some junior gets a promotion because he's got better qualification. He has to feel special, superior, that he knows more. And now where is it all going to come out on? It's the wife and the children. So if this is happening with you, please understand that there's time for you to look inside and see that, what do I think of myself? Analyze. Am I happy with myself? Do I really respect myself? Am I happy the way I am, with all my pluses and minuses, my flaws and my good things? And to do this analysis, you will first have to understand, who am I? It's the basic of everything. Spend some time with yourself. We have always spent time thinking about other people and other things, exam, then performance and results, and what other people will say about us, and our external appearance, and the house and the car, and what people say about me. But hardly have we ever spent time with ourselves thinking that, okay, what am I? The way I am, good or bad, I have everything. Like, I think that all the good qualities people see, I think that I have equal number of negative qualities also. I know them. I will not tell them to you, but I know them. I have them. But trust me, when I started accepting me completely, not trying to be the ideal person that was seen outwardly, when I started accepting myself completely with all my flaws, and I was like, okay, I'm human. Come on. I know very well how to portray myself in the outside world, but I would have my flaws, right? Because if I don't have my flaws, then I'm God. And I know I'm not God. So I have my flaws. And when I accept myself with all of this, I become very comfortable with myself. So now if someone points out something I don't know, someone points out that, something like, Sapna, you pronounce that word very wrong, I don't feel insulted, because I know I don't know the complete English dictionary. I belong to a non-English speaking country, so I can make mistakes, and that's fine, perfectly fine with me. So now when I accept that, when I know that, rather than getting angry, I'm curious. And I'm curious. I asked her, oh, sorry. So how do you pronounce what is the pronunciation exactly? So that person will tell me, and then I'll keep it in my mind repeating. And the day I get it right, I'll be like, yes, I can do this. So the whole thing about getting angry with me or with anyone is gone. It's just because I know myself and I accept myself the way I am, and I try to improve on what I don't like about myself. So if you have this thing, because children are the easy targets. Children are the easy targets. So if you have this issue, this problem of taking out things on others, please understand that you will have to look at it from this perspective that maybe there's something wrong with me inside. Okay, so do we have more questions here? Oh, we have lots of questions here. Let's see how many we can take up. Okay. How to deal when any member of the family is suffering? Okay. Yes, we would always have people around us who are suffering emotionally or physically. That's the nature's rule. How to deal with it? I feel that, first and foremost, we have to clarify our roles to ourselves. Either we get mixed up with their emotions and their pain, and practically if we do that, we are useless to them, because we become more of a liability than an asset. So if we need to learn to develop a more objective viewpoint of looking at it. Okay, now what does this person need most? So if that person needs to be happy and you are also sad with him or her, then you are no help at all. So you see that if this person is unhappy, try to create a happy environment around him. If the person is physically suffering, if the person is bedridden for some reason, what can you do to make his or her life better? If you can develop that objective viewpoint, I think that you will get your answers yourself, because each situation is a pretty unique one. So you will have to understand how to deal with this. No need to get sad. I would like to share one spiritual perspective on that. When we come to this earth, the biggest reason for our birth here is to learn from our and to learn pain is the best way. So we would all have pain of different sorts. So if this person in your family who's very close to you is suffering, please understand that he is living his life the way it is supposed to be. So don't get overwhelmed by pain. Your children would also have pain. They would have relationship issues, they would have accidents, they would have all sorts of things. Their hearts broken and all. Be with them. Support them. But understand the bigger reason behind it. Trust me, it is very, very helpful if you can understand that, the bigger reason behind this entire thing is that we are supposed to take our lessons. So then you will be positive and you will be able to hold this person's hand and walk them through this period of pain with a better understanding of what's happening in their life. All right, and okay, so I guess one last question we can still take up. We are over, the time is over, but let's take one last question. Why sometimes I feel that our mind is blocked, or something is stopping it from its usual behavior, and what are the remedies to overcome such situation? Oh, well. Firstly, to overcome, we need to understand, why is it happening in the first place. Because if we don't understand why is it happening in the first place, then the bigger problem starts. So why is it happening in the first place is our bigger question here. Mind blocking can be because of overwork. Okay, so if it is because of overwork, then perhaps you don't need my help to let you know that you need a break, and you need a nice solid break. Okay, and when you need that nice solid break, just take it. No need to feel guilty. You have work pending and you have family to take care of. You have all these things, but understand that because it's like if you go on chopping a tree and the axe gets blunt and you still go on chopping with it, you will be using twice, thrice the energy, and you will not be able to cut more number of trees. So it is essential to stop and sharpen your axe. So if you're overworked, that understand that you need to take that break. Sometimes we are overwhelmed because of the situation. There are too many things happening around us, and mind has a capacity. As human being, we have a capacity. We may not be able to cope up, and it's okay. If you're not able to cope up, just take a break. In my work, where I'm into counseling and I meet people with so many issues and problems, I have learned to take breaks in between. I take frequent breaks which might appear quite unnatural to people who work. How can you take so many breaks? Yeah, I might lose out on earning some money when I take those breaks. But trust me, if I don't take those breaks, my burnout will be very, very soon. And I will never be able to continue with this work that I am doing. So first of all, please try to understand what's happening in your life. Take a stock of what's happening in your life. Is there some major relationship crisis happening, which is like every single day you are bombarded with negativity? You need to work on it. Stop everything else, think about it, take help, ask for help, go to a counselor or anyone where you can trust, solve that matter, and you can move ahead with it. So take a stock of your life, understand what's happening, and I'm sure the answer would come to you any day. Of course, I am here and you can always write to me with any of your questions. I think that we had a lovely chat today. Thank you so much for being with me here, and we will be doing this frequently. I would suggest that why don't you write to me, send me messages with what topics you would like me to take up, so that frequently we can talk and we can chat and discuss on this issue. I had a lovely time talking with you here, and I'm sure to see you back again very soon. Thank you so much, and bye. Have a good night.